Have you ever woke up with a tight heart, as if the weight of the world decided to fall just as your eyes open? There are days when we don't even know where to start, and it is precisely these days that a simple prayer can turn our breath. Psalm 121 is not just a beautiful biblical passage, it is a true refuge, an anchor in the chaos, an answer when everything seems without direction. Many people seek strength in motivational phrases, empty promises, or even strong morning coffee, but there is a deeper, constant, and powerful source: God's Word. And Psalm 121 invites us to do just that: lift our eyes, not upwardly, but to where He dwells, the One who keeps our soul. In this video, you will find out how to turn this psalm into a daily prayer of divine protection, renew your faith before you even leave home, and walk more confidently at each step of your journey. If you feel you need a spiritual push early on, come with me. This can be prayer that changes your day, or who knows, your whole life. As soon as you wake up, even before looking at your phone or thinking about the pending of the day, how about stopping for a minute and remembering the love of God for you? A love that does not depend on your performance, your flaws, or achievements. He simply loves and loves tirelessly. Starting the day with this conscience changes everything. What seemed burden turns into a mission with meaning. And this simple memory can be your first prayer of the morning. Do you know, when we look in the mirror and barely recognize yourself inside or out, God's love is not frightened by our tiredness, our internal mess, or that fear hidden in the bottom of the chest. He is love that welcomes, healing that remains. When everything is silent, He is there. This is where the constant presence of God comes in, silent, but firm as a rock. You don't have to feel this love every day to know He's with you. It is like the sun that is born, even when the sky is cloudy. Sometimes what is missing is not faith. It is just a little silence to hear what the heart already knows: God remains love. The journey of faith begins right here, when we remember those who walk with us. And this love is the best starting point. So many people wake up in automatic mode, skipping steps and diving into chaos. But when you start the day with gratitude for this love, something changes. It is as if the day started on the right side. Divine protection is not just a shield against visible dangers, it is a care that reveals itself in the details, the opportunities, the deliverances we don't even realize. And all this is born from His faithfulness. There are people who say praying in the morning is a waste of time, that the world does not expect. But look, those who sometimes waste time gains perspective. When you connect with God's love early on, the mind lightens, the heart calms, and the soul aligns. His protective shadow is already over you. And this brings confidence that no human planning can offer. The beauty of God's love is that He need not be deserved. Even when we feel distant, He continues to offer spiritual help. Just a thought turned to Him, a phrase whispered upon waking up. Lord, thank you for loving me even when I fail. Simple as that. It is this intimacy that renews. And then, all the rest of the day gets another color. So if today you woke up a little lost, tired, or even without the strength to pray, start with this truth: God loves you. This is not cliche, it's solid base to build a better day. When we understand that this love is our source, we begin to walk more lightly. And this walk is just the beginning. There are verses that seem to have been written for specific moments of life, and Psalm 121 is just like that. He begins with a thrust that we all already feel: I elevate my eyes to the hills. Where will help come from? This question echoes in the dawn in saints, in the unexpected crises, the days when everything crumbles. And the answer comes soon after: my help comes from the Lord. This phrase is like anchor for the soul. When the heart is distressed, Psalm 121 becomes more than reading, becomes shelter. When meditating on this text, you access a refuge and security that is not found anywhere in the world. It is as if the Bible became a personal whisper of God: I am with you. And let's combine. Know that the Creator of heaven and earth itself commits to taking care of us. It changes everything. This psalm is perfect for those who want to transform the morning prayer into a moment of faith and real hope. How about separating 2 minutes and reciting the psalm aloud before leaving home? Not as a magic formula, but as a statement of trust. He reminds you that his spiritual help does not depend on contacts, money, or control. It depends on the constant presence of God, and this does not fail. A powerful practice is to write Psalm 121 by hand and leave it in visible places in the mirror, on the agenda, even on the cell phone lock screen. This feeds the soul in the middle of the rush. When the pressures of the day try to swallow you, this word of encouragement will pull you back to the center. Remember that you are not at the mercy of chance, but in the hands of a vigilant God. Reading this psalm in prayer is like tuning an instrument before touching aligns the heart, thoughts, in the direction of the day. He takes us out of the logic of fear and repositioned us on the route of trust in God. If the question, where will my help come from? He has been around his thoughts. Perhaps it is time to respond with conviction, come from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. This is more than beautiful verse, its foundation. And do you know what is curious? The Bible does not hide the distress. The psalmist does not start by saying everything is fine. He begins recognizing the doubt. This is liberating because it shows that having faith is not pretending that everything is right. It is knowing where to seek help when things go down. And Psalm 121 is this map that points to the top, the right place, to the true source. So don't keep this psalm just for emergencies. Use as a daily compass, as a constant spiritual guide. The more you meditate on him, the more your journey of faith is strengthened. The secret is not to understand everything, but to trust even without understanding. And when that happens, divine protection becomes more visible than ever. One of the most comforting truths of Psalm 121 is this: he will not sleep, the one who keeps you. As we collapse, sleep, or lose control, God remains in vigil. And it's not a mechanical surveillance, it's the attentive look of a loving Father, full of zeal. No matter how unstable your situation seems now, it doesn't lose sight of you. This is more than comfort, it is daily livelihood. Think of the amount of things that can happen in one day, unforeseen, difficult choices, threats we don't even realize. Being sure that there is a vigilant God who keeps our every step completely changes the way we face it all. We are not loose in the world, at the mercy of chance. There is a guardian, and he does not nap. It is this awareness that strengthens our faith and hope. While the world spins and everything changes, God remains firm in his post. He does not take off, does not distract himself, does not delay. And when you pray, even with a few words, it is as if this divine protection further enables you. It's like a protective shadow that moves with you, silent but unbeatable. Therefore, every morning prayer is also a reminder, Lord, I know you are with me. Perhaps you have grown up listening that God only appears when it squeezes. But Psalm 121 dismantles this idea. He shows a God who not only appears in critical moments, but walks along all the time. God's constant presence is not an event, it is a lifestyle. And when we understand this, stop living in fear and start living with confidence. Sometimes we expect God to manifest with scandalous thunder and signs, but he acts as a protector that operates in detail. It is the delay in traffic that delivers from the accident, the connection that did not happen, the no that looked bad, but it was deliverance. It is in this silence full of intention that we see his fidelity. Even when we don't realize, he's working for us. Make no mistake, living under this protection does not mean that everything will be easy, but it means that nothing will be faced alone. That's why morning prayer is so powerful. She reminds us that we are not dropped, but care. And that gives courage even on the gray days. Security is not in the absence of problems, but in the presence of God. So the next time you feel unprotected, look at Psalm 121 and remember your heavenly guard does not sleep. It is more constant than the sun that is born. He doesn't get tired, doesn't change his mind, doesn't give up on you. This certainty is one of the greatest sources of spiritual renewal. And with her, we went to the next step of the journey. One of the most powerful images of Psalm 121 is this: the Lord is your shadow to your right. Have you ever thought about it? The shadow is always close, accompanies each step, and only disappears if you get out of light. Such is divine protection, discreet, constant, and faithful. God does not protect you only at specific times, he keeps you day and night, even when you don't even notice. During the day, we face commitments, pressures and decisions that require wisdom and balance. At night, often, the fears intensify, insecurities hit stronger. But the good news is that God's protective shadow covers both shifts. There is no time when He is absent or turns His face. God's constant presence is 24 hours a day without breaks, without interruption. How many times have you had sleepless nights, worries that have taken you sleep? At these times, remember that God is there, even in the dark, brings an inexplicable comfort. He keeps your entrance and departure, as the psalm himself says. And more, He keeps your soul. This goes beyond the physical. It is spiritual care, help that acts from the inside out. This is real protection. It is interesting to note that the Bible mentions both the sun and the moon in this psalm. The sun will not hurt you by day, or the moon at night. That is, divine care does not depend on the stations or cycles of life. On sunny days or on long nights, the protection remains the same. And when faith and hope stand in this truth, even the most confused moments gain a new perspective. If you have a habit of praying in the morning, great, continue. But how about including a prayer of the night? Something simple, such as, Lord, thank you for keeping me another day. May your peace involve me as I sleep. This kind of surrender reinforces trust in God and helps us to really rest. Not only the body, but the soul also needs to sleep safely. Some call it chance when they escape a problem. Others say it was luck. But those who have spiritual discernment know it was God. Yes, it was His care in action. And sometimes it is in the silence of the night that we feel this invisible hug. It is when everything stops and the heart listens to what the noises of the day drowned out. The soft voice that says, I'm with you. The journey of faith is made of days and nights, tall and downs, lights and shadows. But in each of these phases, divine protection is constant. God is not distracted. He doesn't have to be remembered that you exist. He simply cares. And it is with this certainty that we go to the next point, with a lighter heart and a safer soul. These days, the word certainty became a luxury article. Everything changes so fast: relationships, jobs, plans, that trusting something solid seems almost a miracle. But that's exactly where faith comes into God. When everything around it seems unstable, trusting what has created the heavens and the earth is more than a religious choice. It is a decision for emotional and spiritual survival. Confidence in God is not built overnight today. It is the result of experiences, falls, answers, and often silences. But each time you choose rest in the Lord in the midst of confusion, your spiritual maturity grows. And then, even without understanding everything, you start to walk in peace. Chaos out there doesn't change, but something inside you changes deeply. There are times when the plan fails, plan B disappears, and plan C does not even exist. It is in this scenario that many people learn to really trust. God does not need human stability to act. Sometimes He expects precisely the collapse of our self-sufficiency to show that spiritual help comes from Him. And when it comes, it's right in the right time, the right way. Have you noticed how Psalm 121 never mentions the absence of struggles? He speaks of protection, yes, but does not promise exemption from problems. This is because trusting God is not thinking that nothing will go wrong. It is believing that even when everything goes wrong, He remains in control. And that completely changes the way we deal with storms. In a world that lives on likes, and instant approval, trusting the invisible requires courage. But this courage is rewarded, because by trusting God, you begin to realize doors that only He could open and others that He Himself closed to protect you. This confidence is an invisible shield, a force that no one sees, but everyone feels. If you are experiencing a phase of uncertainty, here is a practical tip. Write down every morning a promise of God that strengthens you. Paste it on the wall, in the mirror, wherever it is. Repeating the word aloud is a way of training the mind and renewing faith. And gradually, this practice teaches you that trust in God is not passivity, it is spiritual attitude. Psalm 121 reminds us that our Creator not only formed the universe, but also supports every detail of our lives. Trusting it is what keeps us up when everything shooks. And when you choose this confidence, your journey of faith becomes firmer, safer even when the way ahead is still covered by the mist. Gratitude is one of the most powerful weapons we have, and the best it's free. When we choose to thank, even in the midst of pain, something changes inside us. The soul reorganizes, faith and hope rekindles, and perspective aligns with heaven. Gratitude does not deny reality, but illuminates the points we tend to forget. And this generates real spiritual renewal. You may say, but I don't have much to thank now. And I understand. There are days when everything seems to collapse. But what if you thank you for the breath you still have, for the divine protection that brought you here, by the constant presence of God who, even in silence, is still firm? Gratitude begins small but turns giants inside. Start the day listing 3 things you are grateful. It can be a hot coffee, the health of children, or even that deliverance that only you and God know. This simple habit, incorporated into your morning prayer, strengthens the spirit. You realize that despite the challenges, there are signs of God's love everywhere. Just look with your heart. Gratitude leads you to see that what you have today has been a prayer answer at some point in the past. God's protective shadow is not only in the future, but also in the present. When you thank, you not only recognize this, you attract more this grace about your life. It is as if the sky said, you understand. And when this happens, there is a silent transformation inside. In moments of trial, the mind tends to focus on what is missing. But when you change this focus and recognize what you already have, you break the anxiety cycle. This is not cheap self-help, it is spiritual wisdom. The Bible is full of examples of this. Paulo and Silas sang in prison. Jesus thanked him before multiplying the bread. Gratitude opens doors. You can also express gratitude by sharing testimonies with other people. When you tell what God has done, not only strengthens your faith, but also encourages others. This is part of the journey of faith, blessing with what we have already received. And the most beautiful? Often this sharing generates even more reasons to thank. Finally, remember there is no true gratitude without presence. When you turn to God with a grateful heart, you put yourself in the center of His will. And in this place, spiritual renewal happens naturally. The soul breathes, the spirit strengthens, and confidence in God constantly grows. And with this renewed spirit, we go to the last point. Do you know that verse that moved you? That morning prayer that brought peace in the middle of chaos? Don't just keep it for you. There are people out there right now praying for a word of encouragement, and God can use you as a channel. Your journey of faith is not just personal, it is bridge to reach other hearts. Sharing is also an act of love of God. The divine protection you experience may be exactly what someone around you is looking for, but you don't know where to start. Sometimes a simple message, a link sent, or even a short audio can be the spiritual help this person needs. Do not underestimate the small gestures. God operates in detail, and every attitude of yours can have an eternal impact. We live in times when many people feel alone, even surrounded by people. It is in this scenario that God's constant presence needs to be revealed also through relationships. When you share faith, hope, and comfort, you are incarnating the very heart of Christ. You become shelter, refuge, and security for those who lost the floor. You don't have to be a pastor, preacher, or theologian. Just have a willing heart, a verse sent at the right time, a silent prayer by someone, a hymn here already make a difference. God uses ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things. When you understand this, you realize that even your weaknesses can be tools for community encouragement. What's more, sharing what God has done in your life also strengthens you. By verbalizing His kindness, you remember how much has been sustained, protected, guided. This reactivates your faith and makes you walk more firmly. The journey of faith is made of comings and goings, but it was never to be lonely. We are called to be a protective shadow in each other's lives. Shared gratitude becomes seed. Word of encouragement becomes root. When you bless someone with what you receive from God, you expand the scope of heaven on earth. And this has a power that often only time will reveal. But heaven already counts every act, every word, every gesture. And all this comes back to you in the form of peace, purpose, and presence. So, Before ending this moment, make a simple choice. Send this message to someone. It may seem little, but for those who receive it, it may be everything. Be an instrument. Be a channel. May your journey of faith not end you, but keep inspiring many others to look at the mountains and find in them the same vigilant God who sustains you every day. And now, how about stopping for a moment and reflecting what changes when you start the day with Psalm 121 on your lips and heart? What would your routine be like before facing any challenge? You remember that there is a God who does not sleep and keeps every step of yours. You may need less immediate answers and more renewed trust. Have you ever tried to turn your morning prayer into a real moment of connection with God? Have you ever thought that the peace you are looking for so much to be a simple prayer away? Do not wait for the chaos to come to seek shelter. Start now with small habits, with practical faith, with eyes raised to the hills. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it just for you. Like, share, send it to someone who needs this encouragement today. And of course, if you are not subscribed here on the channel, do it now. Activate notifications to continue receiving words that strengthen your journey of faith every day.